Part 2. Fantasy, I rely on my mobile phone to pretend to be the Emperor. Author, Beside Ermaran. Chapter 11. After entering the holographic mode, Gu Kanghai felt it more realistically. Although there is no background music in the whole picture, it makes Gu Kanghai's state of mind more transparent. This light and shadow was the darkness of heaven and earth from the beginning. Doesn't this just represent his situation at this time? Although he has reached the peak of Guiyang, he cannot break through to the realm of immortals no matter what. For him, this is a lifelong regret. The golden morning light and the fairy plants in the garden represent full of vitality, which means that he actually still has a chance. But then the scene suddenly turned to the miniature fairy plant. Although with the help of the man, the fairy plant grew instantly, but it withered in an instant. This made Gu Kanghai think of the magic skills he had practiced, even if he relied on the magic skills to successfully break through to the realm of immortals. But the consequences are extremely miserable. It will only become nutrients and be buried in the soil, and no one will care about it from now on. I understand that although the magic power is powerful, it is always short-lived. Does the ancient emperor name this light and shadow as growth? Does he want to tell me that everything must go with the flow and cannot be forced? The confusion in Gu Kanghai's eyes disappeared at this moment. Throughout his life, wasn't he obsessed with breaking through to the realm of immortal beings? Even at the expense of his own blood and essence to practice magic? Xianzi cannot do it through other means. Help it grow, otherwise it will just end up with the flowers and branches falling. And he is so persistent in making breakthroughs, but it is counterproductive. If he can follow his heart, he can be like the last picture, with the garden full of fairy plants growing wantonly. What kind of person is this ancient emperor? I gained a lot from just a random picture. Gu Kanghai looked at the light and shadow over and over again. Several hours passed before he stopped still. I already understand the emperor's heart. Even if I don't rely on magic power, I, Gu Kanghai, will definitely be able to achieve the state of a lifeless heavenly being in the future. Thinking about it, Gu Kanghai turned over his right hand, and a classic book appeared in his hand. This was the magic power he accidentally obtained many years ago. Hua hua hua. The next second, a ball of fire appeared in Gu Kanghai's hand, and the magic book instantly turned into ashes and disappeared between heaven and earth. Buzz. And at the moment when the magic power books were burned, Gu Kanghai's persistence also dissipated at this moment. On the contrary, his state of mind improved and his realm relaxed. It turns out that everything was just that I was too persistent. If I hadn't been lucky enough to get the Emperor's guidance today, maybe this life would be as short-lived as that immortal plant. Feeling the changes in himself, Gu Kanghai thought secretly, but his heart was filled with peace and did not fluctuate due to the temporary improvement. This ancient emperor is indeed a capable person. It is very difficult to meet a powerful emperor in all worlds. Since I met him today, I naturally cannot miss it. Gu Kanghai started thinking about it. The emperor's requirements for setting light and shadow here are only magic techniques for the qi refining period. Could it be that the emperor needs this type of magic? Thinking of this, Gu Kanghai directly clicked on the message box. The junior Wu Yuan's little world Xiantian sect leader Gu Kanghai paid tribute to the ancient emperor. The junior accidentally saw the emperor's light and shadow, and he realized something in his heart. He was very grateful to the emperor. It seemed that the emperor needed the qi refining period. I wonder if the junior can you help? After thinking about it, Gu Kanghai clicked send directly and waited with a hint of nervousness. I wonder if the ancient emperor would reply to his message. At this time, Suju had also received Gu Kanghai's message. Seeing the respectful look on the other side, Suju smiled slightly. Someone finally took the bait. This Gu Kanghai is the leader of the sect in the small world. He must have many cultivation resources needed by low-level monks, and he must search them carefully. Suju thought and began to consider how to reply to the other party. Now that you have seen my light and shadow, this is your chance. The reason why the viewing conditions are set to the chi refining stage spell is because I just accepted a disciple a few days ago, but I have no time to clone myself at this time. Hand techniques are not suitable for disciples either, hence this requirement. Not long after Suju clicked to send, Gu Kanghai replied. Your Majesty, Your Excellency, although this junior is not talented, the disciples in the sect still have some training resources. Please wait for a moment, and this junior will get it now. Looking at this reply, Suju also started to look forward to it. I don't know what level this guy's Xiantian sect is, but even if it is a poor sect, it should still have the resources to satisfy the monks in the chi refining stage at this time. Gu Kanghai had already rushed back to Xiantian sect and hurried to the sect's main hall. There were already 5 people waiting in the main hall. I have met the sect master, but I wonder why the sect master summoned us so urgently. The old man in the lead looked at Gu Kanghai and asked in confusion. The others were also curious. This time, in order to summon them, the sect leader actually used the Xiantian order. Generally, the Xiantian order was only used when it was a matter of life and death for the section. The Xiantian sect has been around for tens of thousands of years, and the Xiantian order has only been used once. The Japanese sect leader has something big to announce today. Gu Kanghai took a deep breath and looked at everyone seriously and said. Fantasy, I rely on my mobile phone to pretend to be the emperor. Author, Beside Ermaran. Chapter 12. After hearing Gu Kanghai's words, the 5 elders of Xiantian sect became serious. The sect leader used the Xiantian order to summon them, and now he even said that something big was announced, so something major must have happened. Great Elder, go to the library pavilion and select the best magic books. Each realm must have. Second Elder, go to the Dan pavilion to get the elixirs. All kinds of elixirs must be complete. The third elder went to the Baiko garden to collect various natural materials and earthly treasures. 4 elders. As Gu Kanghai's order came down, the 5 elders who were originally doubtful all showed surprised expressions. The important thing the sect leader mentioned was just to let them get various cultivation resources. But it's okay to just let ordinary disciples handle such a small matter. Why call them together, and even use the Xiantian order? Sect Master, I don't know what the important use of these things is. Could it be that the Sect Master has touched the realm of immortals? The Great Elder asked curiously, and the other 4 elders were also confused. Yes, this sect leader has indeed touched the realm of lifeless heavenly beings today, Gu Kanghai said with a smile. Looking at the smile on Gu Kanghai's face, the 5 elders were all surprised. Over the years, the sect master has never shown a smile on his face because he was unable to break through. He didn't expect that it would appear today. Congratulations to the sect master for touching the realm of lifeless heavenly beings, but these cultivation resources seem to have not been used for breakthrough, the great elder said hurriedly. What's more, this is using cultivation resources from various realms, but it's like the sect wants to train someone. Anyway, there is no need to hide this from you. Today, the Japanese sect leader wanted to try to break through again, but in the end he failed and almost died. Gu Kanghai said. When I was still alive, my sect leader entered the world and happened to observe the light and shadow of a powerful emperor. Fortunately, the emperor's request allowed my sect master to maintain his cultivation and touch the threshold of the emperor. Although they only explained a little bit, the 5 elders stood up with their eyes wide open. Unexpectedly, the sect master actually met the powerful emperor and was on demand. That was the powerful emperor, and there was no one in the whole small world of Wuyuan. Only in the great world of Dingtian. Everyone is a supreme venerable, and they can destroy their entire small world with a flip of their hands. Being able to be requested by such a powerful person, it is no wonder that the sect leader showed a rare smile today and touched the threshold of the great emperor. Sect master, are these cultivation resources demanded by this powerful emperor? The great elder asked, even more confused in his heart. The emperor is extremely powerful, and corpses litter the ground with a single thought. Even if the other party needs training resources, they shouldn't need ants like them. After all, these resources are no longer useful to the emperor. It's not that he asked for it from me, it's just that I had a few chats with him and learned that he had a disciple who was short of cultivation resources, so I thought of providing these cultivation resources. Gu Kanghai said, if his disciples use the training resources we provide to practice, this great emperor will definitely be kind to our Xiantian sect in the future. I don't need to say more about what a powerful emperor represents. Bar. The 5 great elders showed a look of surprise. It turns out that they are the disciples of the powerful emperor who need training resources. If they can take this opportunity to establish a relationship with the emperor, a little favor from the other party will be enough for them to benefit endlessly. It is also for this reason that this sect leader will not hesitate to use the Xiantian order to summon the 5 of you to get these resources. You must ensure that the resources obtained are foolproof. After this matter is handled well, the Xiantian sect will have the protection of the powerful emperor, otherwise, it will be inviting death, Gu Kanghai said seriously. The 5 people nodded. If the disciples of the powerful emperor have problems with their cultivation because of their cultivation resources, they cannot afford it. When the emperor is angry, it is a trivial matter, and if the emperor is angry, blood will flow into a river. They will directly let their whole little world collapse. Sect Master, don't worry, we will select it ourselves and we will ensure that there will be no problems. After saying that, the 5 people also turned into a stream of light and disappeared in place. Gu Kanghai also took a deep breath. Whether Xiantian sect can seize this opportunity depends on this time. On the other side, Sujujhan waiting boredly. Strange, is this Gu Kanghai letting me go? I've been waiting for an hour, but the spell hasn't been sent yet. Could it be that my identity has been compromised? Suju frowned. If the other party knew that he was not a powerful emperor at all, then there would be no fun. Ding dong, you received a message, do you want to check it? Ding dong, you received an item from Gu Kanghai, do you want to check it? Just as she was thinking about it, 2 messages appeared on her phone. Suju's eyes lit up and she hurriedly opened her phone. Extract all. Wow. Without rushing to read the message from Gu Kanghai, Suju directly took out the things given by the other party. The next second, a storage ring appeared in front of her. Damn, so many things. When she saw the contents of the storage ring, Suju couldn't help being surprised. The entire storage ring was filled, and the spiritual stones alone piled up into a hill. There were also a large number of heavenly materials and earthly treasures. Elixirs and magic books, each item is divided into categories, which is clear at a glance. This time I made a lot of money. Suju smiled and at the same time clicked on the message sent by the other party. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I rely on my mobile phone to pretend to be the emperor. Author, Beside Ermaran. Chapter 13. Your Majesty, these are the thoughts of a junior. I know that they are not in the eyes of the emperor, but they should be of some help to the disciples' cultivation. Please don't dislike them. Looking at the message from Gu Kanghai, Suju smiled slightly. This guy is indeed very good. If you are determined, if you have the chance, I can go to Wu Yuan's small world. After sending this message, Suju also cheered up. Now that he has the training resources and the techniques, he just needs to practice. First, he took a book of techniques, and Suju finally understood why the other party took so long. It took a while to send the things over. These classics were all annotated with explanations and my own understanding, and some of the ink was not dry yet. In this way, practicing will be much simpler. Without hesitation, Suju began to observe the techniques seriously to improve his strength. Xiantian Sect Hall. Sect Master, how are you? Did the ancient emperor say anything? The great elder and others looked at Gu Kanghai with curiosity. The emperor said that if he had a chance, he would come to visit our little world of Wu Yuan. Gu Kanghai said with a smile. At the same time, he waved his right hand, and Suju's reply appeared in front of everyone. Really? If the emperor really comes to play, who else in our Xiantian sect dares to provoke us in this small world? Everyone will know that we have the support of the emperor. The eyes of the great elder and others shone brightly. Generally, the powerful emperors disdain to come to the small world. But once they come, the powerful people from the entire small world will come to pay homage. If at this time, the great emperor shows that it is for them, the impact of the Xiantian sect's arrival can be imagined. At least for the next 1,000 years, no one will dare to think anything wrong about the Xiantian sect. It's a pity, it would be better if the emperor gave me some items, the second elder said. Don't be greedy, the things we take out may seem valuable, but to the powerful emperor, they are nothing at all. Gu Kanghai scolded. Moreover, the energy of the object in the hands of the powerful emperor must be extremely amazing. If it is really given to us, we would not dare to take it, otherwise it will trigger the thunder and disaster of heaven and earth, and Xiantian sect will no longer exist. Gu Kanghai's words made everyone nod. With their power, if it really caused the thunder and disaster of heaven and earth, they would only die. What the sect leader taught me was that I was greedy. The second elder hurriedly cupped his hands and said. Now that we have a connection with the great emperor, as long as we can comply with his wishes, we will definitely get what we want in the future, Gu Kanghai said with a smile. The wise leader. At this time, Suju had already begun to practice. With the comments from the elders of the Xiantian sect, the techniques in the qi refining period were not difficult for Suju, and he had already mastered them in a few hours. Tiger Roaring Fist. As Suju let out a light drink, the spiritual power in his body also gathered on his fist. A spiritual light flashed and landed directly on the stone wall not far away. Boom! An explosion followed, and a fist mark instantly appeared on the stone wall, and cracks were vaguely visible. Finally, I have some strength. Looking at the broken stone wall, Suju smiled slightly. Although he was only in the qi refining stage, he also had a glimmer of self-preservation power and was infinitely stronger than before. Once this tiger roaring fist is practiced at the top level, it will be accompanied by the power of a tiger's roar, and its strength will increase more than 10 times. By then I should be able to go out and catch some game. After living in this ruined temple for so long, he eats vegetables from the vegetable field every day. Although they taste good, they don't taste like meat. Although there are many beasts in the mountains and forests, his strength is not good enough. Once he improves a little, he can try hunting some small beasts. Thinking about it, Suju took out the elixir and took it. Now he didn't think about anything. He just wanted to improve his strength quickly, at least to satisfy his appetite. While Suju was practicing, Shengtian Xiao, the Qilian sect of the world, is very lively at this time. In the main hall of the Qilian sect, the leader of the Qilian sect is sitting at the top, and the masters of the 5 peaks are lined up on both sides. And in the middle, standing is Li, the master of the Tianjian peak. Hai and his only son Li Yun. Leader, according to our investigation, the purple dragon sword, the most precious treasure of our Qilian sect, has disappeared. As the master of Tianjian peak, Li Hai controls the purple dragon sword. Now that the whereabouts of the treasure are unknown, Li Hai should bear the responsibility and ask the leader to investigate clearly. Qinglong Peak's peak master Zhou Shi said with his hands in hand. Li Hai, is what Zhou Shi said true? The leader Li Si Yuan sitting at the top asked with a frown. Report to the leader that the purple dragon sword is indeed no longer in the Qilian section Li Haidao. Master Li Feng, the purple dragon sword is the most precious treasure of my Qi Lian Xiao. Letting you control it means trusting you. Now that you are saying so calmly that the purple dragon sword is not in the Qi Lian Xiao, is it possible that you want to set up your own branch? Zhou Shi snorted coldly, with a cold light flashing in his eyes. Zhou Shi had been at odds with Li Hai in his early years, and had been looking for opportunities to suppress each other. But the other party was calm in his work, won the trust of the leader, and even obtained the most precious purple dragon sword. But in the past 2 days, the spiritual seal on the purple dragon sword suddenly lost its sensitivity, which gave Zhou Shi an opportunity. After careful investigation, he found that the purple dragon sword was no longer in Qi Lian Xiao. With such an opportunity, he won't let it go, so that's why the scene happened. He didn't believe it. Without the purple dragon sword, Li Hai could still overwhelm him. Li Hai, where is the purple dragon sword now? But was he robbed? Li Siyuan looked at Li Hai and asked. He didn't believe that Li Hai would betray him. There must be a reason for it. Fantasy, I rely on my mobile phone to pretend to be the emperor. Author, beside Ermaran. Chapter 14. Leader, not only is this purple dragon sword not in Qi Lian Xiao, it is also not in the small world of Shengtian, Li Hai said. Li Siyuan frowned. He could understand it if he wasn't taught by Qi Lian, but why wasn't he still in this small world of the holy heaven? Li Hai, what exactly do you want to say? Is it possible that this purple dragon sword can still exist in those big worlds? Don't tell me that a powerful emperor came and stole the purple dragon sword, Zhou Shi sneered. The powerful emperor is in the big world. Even if he comes to their small world of holy heaven, it is absolutely impossible just to snatch a purple dragon sword. Peak Master Zhou was only half right. This purple dragon sword is indeed in the hands of a powerful emperor, but it was not snatched from it, but given by me, Li Hai said lightly. Ha ha ha, Li Hai, you are usually quite calm, but I didn't expect that you wouldn't even lie. Let's not talk about how you got in touch with the powerful emperor. How could such a powerful person fall in love with our purple dragon sword? Zhou Shi laughed, his heart full of disdain. The purple dragon sword is a treasure to them, but it is nothing to the powerful emperor. It can be refined in just a few seconds. Leader, you also know that my child's practice has gone crazy in the past 2 days. In the past 2 days, my child's demonic heart has been strong, and I am about to lose it. But by chance, I happen to observe the power of a powerful emperor in the world. Light and shadow. Li Hai said, that's why I used the emperor's light and shadow to eliminate the demons in my heart. I knew I couldn't neglect the emperor, so I gave the purple dragon sword as a gift. Oh? And this matter? Li Siyuan was a little surprised and looked at Li Yun aside. He also knew about the other party's obsession, and had used some methods, but he couldn't help the other party eliminate his inner demons. He thought he was doomed, but now he saw that it was true. The demons in my heart have been eliminated, and my strength has improved a lot. Leader, I think Li Hai is just talking nonsense. There are so many realms in the world that the powerful emperors don't even bother to be among them. Even if there are, how can they be so easy to encounter? Zhou Shi coldly snorted. Li Siyuan didn't speak, just looked at Li Hai. Since the other party said so, he must give evidence. Yun'er, let's show it to the leader and other peak masters, Li Haidao. The boy obeyed. After Li Yun finished speaking, he opened the world with a thought, and then an interface appeared in front of everyone. Leader, fellow peak masters, this is the world used by the powerful emperor. I had to observe this light and shadow before to get rid of my inner demons. After Li Yun finished speaking, he directly clicked on the light and shadow of a daily day of the ancient emperor that he had watched before, and a picture suddenly appeared. Looking at the man with an immortal air on the picture, he listened to the background music that sounded like the song of heaven. At this moment, the eyes of everyone in the hall became dull, and they were gradually attracted by the picture. Even Joshi, who didn't believe it at first, was also attracted by the man on the picture. This man seemed to be like this. Heaven and earth, every move is in line with the will of heaven. Seeing the appearance of everyone, Lehi smiled in his heart. Even if it was not the first time for him to observe, he would still be deeply attracted, and he would have different insights every time. Buzz. I don't know how much time passed, but when a violent spiritual energy suddenly swept through the hall, everyone was awakened. Teacher, teacher, I'm going to make a breakthrough. The Peak Master of Suzaku Peak said with surprise. He had already accumulated enough on his own, and what was missing was that little bit of understanding. Now observing the light and shadow of the great emperor finally allowed him to take that step and break through. Stay calm and focused, and don't be distracted when making breakthroughs. Li Siyuan was also surprised and said hurriedly, and at the same time he was ready to help the other party break through. Boom! But before he could move, the aura of the master of the Vermilion Bird Peak suddenly rose, and the spiritual energy in his body vibrated out. Successful breakthrough. I broke through. The master of Suzaku Peak, who was still standing there, looked confused. Not to mention other people, even he himself didn't react. The breakthrough speed was too fast. The master of Suzaku Peak just realized something and broke through the realm directly without any hindrance. This is really the light and shadow of the great emperor. Li Siyuan also came back to his senses and looked at the scene that was still playing in front of him with a look of disbelief. Impossible, the great emperor is hard to find. How could you be so lucky to meet the great emperor's light and shadow? Joshi came back to his senses but still didn't want to believe that if he really gave the purple dragon sword to the powerful emperor, Lehi would not only have done nothing wrong, but would have made merit. How many people can establish a relationship with a great emperor? Dream thing. Leader, if you still don't believe it, you can check the chat records between Yunar and Huanggu Emperor. Lehi said and nodded to Li Yun, and Li Yun also dug out the chat history. Seeing that the chat history was true, everyone envied Lehi and his son for being able to contact the powerful emperor. From now on, who will dare to touch each other? Leader, this is a private matter between Lehi and his son, but it is offset by the treasure of my Qi Lian teaching. Such behavior is inappropriate and should be. Joshi gritted his teeth, still not wanting to let Lehi go, but before he finished speaking, he was interrupted by Li Siyuan. Master Zhou Feng, what is a private matter? Is it possible that Peak Master Lehi is not someone who is taught by me, Qi Lian? Li Siyuan snorted coldly. Fantasy, I rely on my mobile phone to pretend to be the emperor. Author, Beside Ermaran. Chapter 15. But the leader. Needless to say, this sect leader has decided that Li Yun will be one of the holy sons of my Qi Lian sect from now on. Does anyone else have any objections? Li Siyuan asked calmly. Hearing this, everyone at the scene showed surprised looks. The holy son is the successor of the leader. Now that Li Yun has become the holy son, he will have the opportunity to take over Qi Lianjiao in the future. His identity, the status was instantly improved. Generally, the candidate for the holy son must be approved by all of them, and then decided after passing the test. Now the leader directly decides. They know that this is because of the ancient emperor. Holy Master. Soon everyone said in unison, since Li Yun is valued by this powerful emperor, they have no reason to object. What's more, Li Yun's qualifications are already outstanding, and he had planned to make him the holy son before, but because of an accident, I've been delayed since I became possessed. Now it's time to be a favor. Leader, that purple dragon sword. Joshi was a little unwilling. He originally thought that he could suppress Tianjian Peak today, but he didn't expect that Li Yun became the holy son instead. If Master Zhou has the strength, he can go to the big world, find the ancient emperor, and take back the treasure of my Qi Lian section. Li Siyuan glanced at him and said. Joshi was silent. Are you kidding me? With his strength, let alone being unable to go to the big world, even if he went, he wouldn't even have a chance to fight against the powerful emperor. Death of body and soul. Forget today's business, Lehigh, you continue to contact the Huanggu emperor. If he has any other requests, you can tell the leader of the sect, and Qi Lianjiao will try his best to satisfy them, Li Siyuan said. The leader can rest assured that his subordinates know what to do. Lehigh smiled and said. In the vegetable field, half a month had passed, and Suju was still practicing with her eyes closed. With the help of the Kongling stone, all the surrounding spiritual energy of heaven and earth gathered around him, and with various cultivation resources, Suju had reached the 9th level of Qi refining at this time, and was only one step away from the foundation building stage. There are a total of 99 small spiritual swords wrapped around his body. This is the effect of practicing the heavenly sword art. If he wants to break through to the foundation building stage, he needs to combine these small swords into one and use the power of the heavenly sword to break through shackles, thereby achieving the effect of releasing spiritual energy. This also means that Suju has reached the foundation building stage. Fortunately, Gu Kanghai gave me enough training resources, including several foundation building pills. I will definitely break through the foundation building stage today. Suju took a deep breath and took a round pill. The small sword around him also made ripples, and the aura on his body gradually increased. Buzz. I don't know how much time passed, but the spiritual energy of heaven and earth around Suju suddenly began to vibrate, and the spiritual energy in the ethereal stone also poured into his body crazily. Something seemed to be discovered in the entire vegetable field, and infinite light spots appeared and quickly integrated into Suju's body. Break it for me. Boom. Suju secretly shouted, and powerful power swayed from his body, causing the small sword around him to start to vibrate, and cracks appeared on the small sword. If you want to combine these small swords into one, you need to use your own power to smash these small swords to achieve the effect of breaking and then standing up, thus merging into a real heavenly sword. Every subsequent breakthrough requires shattering the heavenly sword and constantly using one's own strength to refine it and become stronger. Bang bang bang. Another quarter of an hour passed, and all the small swords shattered with a sound, turning into a spiritual light that wrapped around Suju's body. The first step has been completed. Next, we only need to refine the heavenly sword, and then we can use the power of the heavenly sword to break through the realm and reach the foundation building stage. Suju thought as he took a few more pills into his stomach. Anyway, he didn't lack cultivation resources. He must not waste them when they should be used. The eternal heavenly sword will exist forever in the world. As the cultivation formula circulates in the heart, the aura in the body circulates for several days in an instant, and the aura around the body also has a vague tendency to converge. Give it to me. Another quarter of an hour passed. Seeing that the time had come, Suju let out a loud shout and pinched the magic formula in his hand. The spiritual light around him quickly gathered and violent power spread around. But Suju did not notice that here when the heavenly sword gathered together, the auras in the vegetable field also merged into it. Boom. About half an hour later, an illusory sword shadow also appeared above Suju's head, emitting powerful energy fluctuations, as if it was about to tear the world apart. After realizing that the heavenly sword was successfully gathered, Suju did not hesitate, gathered the heavenly sword within her body, and began to break through the realm. An hour later, Suju slowly opened her eyes. I finally made a breakthrough. After reaching the foundation building stage, I can release my spiritual energy. I don't know what the effect will be. Swish. Thinking about it, Suju pointed his sword together, and a ray of light quickly moved forward. Laugh. Just for a moment, there was a sound of penetration. Suju looked around and found that there was a small, invisible hole on the stone wall 10 feet away. So strong. Suju was a little surprised. According to the records in Heavenly Sorju, when he has just broken through to the foundation building stage, he is considered a genius if he can release spiritual energy up to 10 feet away. But now he can reach 10 feet away, even on the stone wall. If he leaves a small hole, doesn't that mean he is more of a genius than a genius? Is it because I took too many drugs that I am so strong? Suju doesn't know, and has no intention of thinking about it. As long as he is strong enough, it will be fine. I haven't taken any videos for some days, but I still can't forget my old job. Suju thought about it, then took out her mobile phone and started fishing. She just didn't know if she could catch a big fish this time. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I rely on my mobile phone to pretend to be the emperor. Author, Beside Ermaran. Chapter 16. Suju was recording a video here, but Luying Mountain in Dingtian World was very lively. At this time, more than 10 maids were standing on both sides of Luying Mountain. Chu Luying, the great emperor of Luying, was also standing quietly, as if waiting for something. Jingle bell. Not long after waiting, the sound of a bell suddenly rang. Chu Luying hurriedly looked over and saw a white jade sedan being pulled by several fairy beasts. There were nearly 100 people serving on both sides of the white jade sedan. Welcome Emperor Hao Fei. Seeing the sedan, Chu Luying cupped her hands and said. Soon the white jade sedan stopped not far away, and a man stepped down from it. Luying, why are you so polite? I just happened to pass by Luying Mountain, so I came to see you. The man was wearing white clothes and holding a purple gold flowing fan in his hand. He looked handsome and had a faint smile on his face. This man's name is Hao Fei. He also has the realm of immortality, but his strength is stronger than Chu Luying. Quite a few. This small Luying Mountain is not comparable to Shenyuan City. If the emperor can come, I, Luying Mountain, will naturally treat him with courtesy, Chu Luying said. This Hao Fei is not simple. In addition to being a powerful emperor, he also has another identity, that is, the young city lord of Shenyuan City. Shenyuan City is the top force in the Dingtian world. He has countless strong men, and Hao Fei's father is a little venerable, whose strength should not be underestimated. If it weren't for this relationship, Chu Luying would not bother to pay attention to the other party. Even though the other party looks humanoid on the surface, secretly the reputation is not good. Hao Fei shook his head helplessly. Forget it, I would like to ask Emperor Luying to lead the way and accompany me to enjoy the scenery of Luying Mountain. Of course there is no problem, Emperor Hao Fei invites you. Chu Luying said and moved away. Hao Fei nodded and asked his men to stay here. He followed Chu Luying and walked inside. Luying, you would choose a place to practice. Luying Mountain has rare scenery in the entire Dingtian world. On the way, Hao Fei said with a smile. Although he was talking about the scenery, his eyes were fixed on Chu Luying, and his eyes were full of possessiveness. Emperor Hao Fei joked, compared to Shenyuan City, my Luying Mountain is not worth mentioning. Chu Luying said lightly. Seeing Chu Luying's indifferent attitude, Hao Fei said nothing. With his status, even the powerful emperor must be respectful when meeting him, and many women are against him. This Chu Luying, it was good for Ying to ignore him so much. But he was not angry. The more difficult a woman was to conquer, the more he wanted to conquer her. The two of them walked and walked on the road. Chu Luying still looked cold, which made her Hao Fei's several attempts to be courteous all came to nothing. By the way, Luo Ying, I came here this time to give you something. Hao Fei said as he waved his right hand, and a cyan jade box appeared in his hand. Seeing the jade box in the other person's hand, Chu Luying frowned. Although she didn't know what was inside, this cyan jade box was already priceless. It is a 1,000-year-old sapphire. It is extremely difficult to form this jade. It needs to be tempered by the fire of the Earth's core for thousands of years before it can be formed. However, there is a jade box made of thousand-year-old sapphire in front of me. Presumably, the things in it will only become more precious. This is the Tianfeng elixir that my father refined a few days ago. I heard that you encountered difficulties in practicing today, so I took one, Hao Fei said with a smile. Chu Luying was a little surprised. This Tianfeng immortal pill is not simple. It requires Tianfeng essence and blood, supplemented by thousands of kinds of elixirs. It takes hundreds of years to refine, and the success rate is extremely low. Once it fails, it will take hundreds of years. The situation was in vain. This elixir is also very powerful. After taking it, you have the chance to gain the abilities of the Tianfeng clan, and your realm will instantly break through several levels. Although the Lord of Shenyuan City is a peak little venerable powerhouse, I'm afraid there aren't many Feng Xiandan on this day, but Hao Fei didn't expect that Hao Fei would bring one to her now. Emperor Hao Fei, please take it back. I can't afford such valuables. Chu Luying shook her head and said. Although she also wants this elixir, once she gets it, it will not be so easy to get along with Hao Fei in the future. Luo Ying, since I took it and have no intention of taking it back, don't you still understand my feelings for you? Hao Fei frowned, and instantly transformed into an innocent young man, looking at Chu Luying with burning eyes. He still didn't believe it. A Tianfeng elixir couldn't defeat Chu Luying. If this elixir spreads, it will definitely make many powerful men in the Dingtian world go crazy. Luo Ying, even if you don't care about my feelings, you should still consider your own cultivation. You must be in trouble in your cultivation. This pill can help you. Hao Fei continued. Thanks to the kindness of Emperor Hao Fei, my difficulties in cultivation have been solved, and my realm has been broken through yesterday. Chu Luying said and released a breath. It seems that I am being too sentimental. Emperor Luo Ying is extremely talented, so it is normal for him to be able to break through. Hao Fei squinted his eyes, and the other party actually made a breakthrough. If he was really talented, he wouldn't have been without a breakthrough for so long. It was only through the guidance of a powerful emperor a few days ago that he was lucky enough to break through. Chu Luying said, with a look of admiration on her face. Just a flash of light and shadow made her break through. I am afraid that the ancient emperor is not just a powerful emperor. Fantasy, I rely on my mobile phone to pretend to be the emperor. Author, Beside Ermaran. Chapter 17. Seeing the sudden expression of admiration on Chu Luying's face, Hao Fei suddenly became unhappy. He had seen this kind of expression before, on the faces of women who had thrown themselves into his arms. Now that Chu Luying was showing such an expression to another person, he immediately sensed that something was wrong. This emperor is really talented. He can actually solve Emperor Luying's dilemma. Do I know him? Hao Fei asked calmly. This person didn't seem to be in the Dingtian world, and I just saw his light and shadow by chance in the world. With the help of this light and shadow, I had some understanding, and then I broke through the realm. Chu Luying said. Hao Fei frowned. Just a light and shadow can make Chu Luying break through? How is this possible? Even if his father has the realm of the Little Lord, he dare not say that a light and shadow can make the great emperor break through. Unless it is the great venerable. But how could a powerful man like the great venerable go to the 10,000 realms and be bumped into by Chu Luying? Could it be that Chu Luying just made up a lie just to reject me? How? Fei thought and looked at Chu Luying. I have never seen such a strong person. Can you let me see him? Chu Luying hesitated for a moment, but still nodded. If she didn't show it to the other party, he might still pester her, so she dismissed the other party first. Then Chu Luying's mind moved, and all the worlds were opened. At the same time, Hao Fei also enters the world of Tao. This is the light and shadow. Chu Luying said, and a light and shadow appeared in front of Hao Fei's eyes. The ancient emperor? The name is quite loud, but I have never heard of it. I'm afraid it's just a mystery. Hao Fei sneered, and then clicked on the light and shadow to watch. As the background music played, Chu Liying's eyes showed a hint of admiration. Although it was not the first time to watch it, it still benefited her a lot. Hao Fei, who was still disdainful at first, was gradually attracted by the picture. He seemed to have entered a mysterious state and could not come back to his senses for a moment. Soon, the video finished playing, and Chu Liying looked at Hao Fei. Found that the other party's eyes were still dull, and knew that the other party should also have some understanding. Emperor Hao Fei, can you believe it now? Chu Liying looked at Hao Fei and asked. Hao Fei came back to his senses, his eyes filled with disbelief. Just a ray of light and shadow actually made me go deep into it, and even my soul couldn't escape. This kind of power is definitely not something that the powerful emperor can achieve. Hao Fei secretly thought, let alone the great emperor, even the little venerable would not be able to do it. Is it really the great venerable? It's indeed a bit mysterious. I didn't expect that Emperor Liying would have such an opportunity. Hao Fei said with some coldness on his face. The opponent's current breakthrough level means that he no longer needs the elixir he sent. It will only be harder to win over the opponent. What he is most worried about is that the opponent is getting along with the ancient emperor. If the ancient emperor is really a powerful person, then he can only watch and don't dare to provoke him. Chu Liying said nothing with a smile on her face, and she could probably guess what the other person was thinking. Since Emperor Luoying has broken through the realm, I won't bother him. With that said, Hao Fei turned around and left. He had to find a way to deal with this matter. Ding dong. But just as they were about to leave, a voice sounded in the world, and then, the light and shadow they had just seen were instantly brushed away, and a new light and shadow appeared. It's the ancient emperor who has new light and shadow. Seeing the light and shadow in front of her, Chu Liying's face showed surprise. She had already set special attention to Suju. As long as the other party updates the video, Wanja will remind her. These days, she has been waiting for Suju to update the video. It's a pity that after waiting for half a month, it didn't happen. Although she was disappointed, she could also understand that there were not many strong people who used the 10,000 realms, and the other party might have just released the light and shadow suddenly. She thought that the other party would not enter the 10,000 realms again. He didn't expect that the light and shadow would be updated now. Hao Fei, who was about to leave, also stopped. Although he didn't want to admit it, the light and shadow just now did benefit him, and now the other party has updated a new one. Light and shadow, naturally I want to see them too. Emperor Luoying, I wonder if I can watch it together. Hao Fei asked after hesitating. He was already a 9th grade emperor, and he was only one step away from the little venerable. But if he couldn't comprehend it, he couldn't break through. If he wanted to break through to the little venerable, it was no longer a matter of taking drugs. Medicine can solve the problem. He has to realize it himself. No one can help him at this step. But now he has an opportunity, and of course he doesn't want to let it go. Chu Liying hesitated for a moment and nodded in agreement. Even if she didn't want to, there is no point in agreeing. The other party can at least find the ancient emperor in the world. This is not difficult. Then, Chu Liying directly clicked on the video called The Ancient Emperor, untitled, and the two of them watch it too. Fantasy, I rely on my mobile phone to pretend to be the emperor. Author, Beside Ermaran. Chapter 18. When the light and shadow are turned on, unlike the light and shadow the two of them saw just now, this new light and shadow now has no background music and no boundless scenery. Only a small hole as thick as a thumb. What does it mean? Hao Fei had doubts in his eyes. He waited for a long time. After the entire light and shadow had been played, there was no big change. The small hole in front of him seemed to be caused by the sword energy. It was bottomless. The ancient emperor put this small hole in his eyes. What does the hole mean when light and shadow are transmitted to all realms? Chu Luying also looked confused. She could still understand the light and shadow before, but there was only a small hole in front of her, so she didn't understand what it meant. Emperor Hao Fei, did you see anything? Chu Luying looked at Hao Fei and asked. Hao Fei was already a 9th grade emperor, stronger than her, so he might be able to tell something. But when Chu Luying asked, Hao Fei felt a little unhappy. Is the other party deliberately comparing him with the ancient emperor? If he didn't see anything, wouldn't he look very incompetent? Although the meaning expressed by this light and shadow is very vague, I can see some of it. Hao Fei said pretentiously. Oh? I wonder if Emperor Hao Fei can give me some advice, Chu Luying asked. Hao Fei shook his head. Emperor Luying, you need to rely on yourself to understand the journey of cultivation. Although others can help you, they cannot replace you. Even if I tell you, it is what I have understood. Maybe not suitable for you. Chu Luying pondered for a while and then nodded. What the other party said made sense. What the other party understood might be in conflict with her own way of cultivation, and could easily affect her Taoist heart. The ancient emperor is indeed extraordinary, and even with my level, I can't understand it. Chu Luying sighed and said with even more admiration in her eyes. It would be great if she could meet this ancient emperor one day. Emperor Luying, it's getting late, so I'll go back first. There are still some things that need to be dealt with in Shenyuan City. Hao Fei said. He didn't want to stay any longer. He didn't even notice the light and shadow. If Chu Luying forced him to ask, he really didn't know how to answer. Chu Luying nodded and had no intention of sending Hao Fei away. Just staring blankly at the light and shadow in front of him. Although Hao Fei felt unhappy, he didn't say anything more, turned around and left. After Hao Fei left, Chu Luying looked at the light and shadow in front of her and fell into deep thought. Could it be that the ancient emperor wanted to express that the journey of cultivation was going against nature, and if he continued, he might fall into endless darkness? Or do you want to warn cultivators that once you decide to embark on this path, you must be prepared, because the road ahead is unknown, it is either life or death? Chu Luying began to speculate in her heart. Although she didn't know what the specific meaning was, she believed that since the ancient emperor sent such a light and shadow, it must have a deep meaning. Suju naturally didn't know that the short video she took casually made a great emperor fall into deep thought. This small hole was created by the release of his spiritual energy just now. It had no other purpose than to commemorate his becoming stronger. At this time, Suju had already tidied up and looked towards the mountain. You should be able to have a snack tonight. Thinking about it, Suju strode towards the mountains. Since he had reached the foundation building stage, he naturally wanted to hunt wild beasts for a feast. After walking for about half an hour, Suju stopped. It's strange. There used to be a lot of wild animals here, but why don't we see any today? Suju looked around and saw not a single wild beast. Roar. Just as he was thinking about it, a beast roar suddenly sounded. Suju's eyes lit up and she hurriedly rushed towards the direction of the sound. Passing through the woods, Suju saw an open space not far away, and in the center of the open space, there was a black and colorful tiger 2 meters high. At this time, the black tiger was devouring a wild boar, and there were a lot of beast bones piled up around it. A streak of blood wrapped around it, making it look particularly frightening. The aura of this black tiger is actually more powerful than mine. I'm afraid it has already reached the 5th level of the foundation establishment stage, and I can't beat it with my strength. Suju squinted her eyes. No wonder the beasts around her disappeared. It turned out that they were destroyed by this black tiger. Without hesitation, Suju turned around and planned to leave. But at this moment, A sound breaking through the air suddenly sounded, and there was a danger. The breath rushed towards him quickly. Not good. Boom. Suju's expression changed and she hurriedly moved to the side. But as soon as she left, the figure of the black tiger appeared and pounced on Suju's position. Was discovered. Feeling the killing intent of the black tiger in front of her, Suju took a deep breath. She didn't expect that she would encounter such a troublesome monster as soon as she came out. Roar. The black tiger was not polite, roared, and rushed towards Suju with a cold light on its sharp claws. Seeing that he could not avoid it, Suju gritted his teeth, and with a thought, the purple dragon sword appeared in his hand. He rushed towards Black Tiger. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I rely on my mobile phone to pretend to be the emperor. Author, Beside Ermaran. Chapter 19. Boom. As the purple dragon sword collided with the black tiger's sharp claws, Suju was immediately thrown away by the black tiger's powerful power. Roar. The black tiger also screamed in pain. Suju looked and found that there was a deep wound on the opponent's paw. It is worthy of being the treasure taught by Qi Lian, and it can actually hurt Black Tiger. Suju's eyes lit up. He didn't even inject any spiritual power. Just relying on the sharpness of the purple dragon sword can hurt Black Tiger. If he injects more spiritual power, if other people know what Suju is thinking, they will definitely think that the other party is looking for death. As the treasure of Qi Lian Xiao, the purple dragon sword must at least reach the Yangguan realm before it can be activated. If it is lower than this realm, not only will it be impossible to use the purple dragon sword, but it will be counterattacked by the powerful power of the purple dragon sword. At least seriously injured, or even dead on the spot. But Suju didn't know this. Since the purple dragon sword is powerful, of course he must use it. Come again. Suju smiled slightly, the spiritual power in his body surged up, and streams of spiritual power surged towards the purple dragon sword. Buzz. The purple dragon sword seemed to feel something. It emitted a faint purple light, and a strong suction force appeared, greedily absorbing Suju's spiritual power. Suju also noticed this. He suddenly had a feeling that the purple dragon sword seemed to swallow up all his power. But soon this feeling disappeared again. Instead, a more powerful force appeared on the purple dragon sword. The power. Suju frowned. Although she didn't know what happened to the purple dragon sword, she couldn't care less about it now because the black tiger had already pounced on it again. Well done. Ouch. Suju shouted softly, and a dragon roar suddenly sounded from the purple dragon sword. A shadow of a dragon appeared and quickly attacked the black tiger. Feeling the powerful power emanating from the dragon's shadow, Black Tiger's eyes showed human fear, and he turned around and wanted to run away. Boom. But it was still too late. The dragon's shadow came to the black tiger in an instant. As a roar sounded, the black tiger was immediately killed by the dragon's shadow. This is death. Looking at the black tiger corpse on the ground, Suju was a little surprised. He knew that being able to kill the black tiger instantly did not rely on his own strength, but on the purple dragon sword. This sword is a bit too strong. Looking at the purple dragon sword in his hand, he always felt that it was different from before, but he didn't know exactly what the difference was. Forget it for now, you can eat meat today. Putting away the purple dragon sword, Suju disposed of the black tiger's body. Without intending to go deeper into the mountain, he turned around and rushed towards the Taoist temple. The only pity was that he had forgotten the scene just now. The video has been recorded, otherwise there will be material that can be released to the world. Back in the Taoist temple, Suju also took out the body of the black tiger, cut off a piece of meat and roasted it on the fire. I don't know if anyone has watched the video I just posted. After sitting down, Suju took out her mobile phone out of habit, and then messages rang one after another. Ding dong, you are being followed by Li Siyuan, the leader of Qi Lian cult. Ding dong, you are being followed by Qi Lian Jiao Zukfeng Zhaoyu. Ding dong, you are being followed by Emperor Hao Fei of Saint Yuan City. Suju opened All Heaven's live show and found that she had more than 10 fans, and the identity of each one seemed to be unknown. Ding dong, Emperor Hao Fei sent you a private message, please check it. Another message appeared, and Suju clicked it out of curiosity. Yours sincerely, the Huanggu Emperor. I am Hao Fei, the young master of Shenyuan City in the Dingtian world. I accidentally saw the light and shadow of the Huanggu Emperor today. I was wondering what the Huanggu Emperor meant. I would like to ask the Huanggu Emperor to explain it to me. Looking at this news, Suju narrowed his eyes. This Hao Fei should also be a powerful emperor. On the surface, he seemed to be respectful to him and asked for advice. But as soon as the other party came up, he announced his family name, but with a trace of threatening meaning. It seems that the power of Saint Yuan City in Dingtian world should not be weak, otherwise Hao Fei would not be so arrogant. Suju sneered. He was used to the young master. He wanted to give orders to everyone. Unfortunately, it was Suju he met. It doesn't matter whether you are the young master or the city lord of Shenyuan City, he doesn't care. It's impossible to come along the network cable and beat him up. You do not deserve. Thinking about it, Suju sent the message directly and blocked the other party directly. He would not spoil the other party. He looked at other messages on his phone and saw that several people who were following him also sent them. The news came from Qi Lianjiao and Xiantian sect. However, unlike Hao Fei, these people were full of respect and looked like they were asking for advice. There were even some people who were enlightened and asked Suju if he needed anything. To these people, Suju did not reply. After all, he is now a powerful emperor. If he replied, he would lose his status. After playing with his mobile phone for a while, the barbecue was almost done, and Suju started to feast. Suju is eating here. It smells good, but some people are unhappy. Fantasy, I rely on my mobile phone to pretend to be the emperor. Author, Beside Ermaran. Chapter 20. Saint Yuan City. Hao Fei looked at the message from Suju, and his face became extremely gloomy. He doesn't deserve it? As the young city lord of Shenyuan City, no one has ever dared to talk to him like this. Even if the ancient emperor does have some abilities, he is too arrogant. The most important thing is that he wanted to question Suju, but found that the message could not be sent. He knew that the other party had blocked him directly. The ancient emperor? Although the world of Dingtian is huge, with the power of our Saint Yuan City, it is not difficult to find you. When the time comes, I will want to see what arrogance you have. Hao Fei snorted coldly. If the other party was just pretending to be mysterious, he would never let it go. Not only did it hinder him from taking down Chu Liying, but now he was even uttering arrogant words. He really thought he was easy to bully. You still know how to come back. Just as I was thinking about it, a voice sounded, and a middle-aged man walked in from outside. The child has met his father. I wonder what his father wants from me. Hao Fei hurriedly stood up and asked. This middle-aged man is his father, the city lord of Shenyuan City, the peak little venerable and powerful, Hao Tenglin. What about Tianfeng elixir? Hao Fei asked coldly. Hearing this, Hao Fei's expression changed. Unexpectedly, the old man discovered that the Tianfeng elixir was missing. He secretly took the Tianfeng elixir in his hand. They only had a few in Shenyuan City. If he didn't want to capture Chu Liying, he wouldn't have taken away the Tianfeng immortal pill. Father, the Tianfeng elixir is here. Hao Fei said and took out the Tianfeng elixir. Hao Tenglin took one look at it and suddenly became angry. He didn't expect that he had a prodigal son despite being a wise man. Normally, he would just forget about the other party's misbehavior, but now even Tianfeng dared to steal the elixir secretly. This will destroy all the family wealth. I'm curious about which family's girl it is that makes you unable to even give away the Tianfeng elixir. Hao Tenglin said. Although he was angry, he was also a little surprised. Even the young master wanted to get the Tianfeng elixir, but now someone actually gave up the elixir, which made him very curious. Hao Fei showed a trace of embarrassment on his face. It seemed that he was from this old man knows everything. The father was joking, but the child just took the elixir to Liu Yingshan and lent it to Chu Luying for a look. Hao Fei said. Chu Luying. Hao Tenglin frowned. He had also heard of this person. It was said that he was very talented and had a very weak temper. He just didn't expect that the other person was willing to give up the Tianfeng immortal pill. Huh, if you still dare to act recklessly in the future, don't go out. Hao Tenglin snorted coldly. This time Chu Luying didn't accept the Tianfeng elixir, but that won't be the case next time. Don't worry, father, the child knows, Hao Fei said hurriedly. Hao Tenglin looked at Hao Fei's indifferent expression. Although he was dissatisfied, he had no choice but to do it. After all, he only had such a son. By the way, I saw you were very angry just now. Why? Hao Tenglin said. Father, have you ever heard of the ancient emperor? Hao Fei asked. With his old man's connections, he might have heard of the ancient emperor. The ancient emperor? I haven't heard of it. What's wrong? Hao Tenglin thought for a while and asked. The world of Dingtian is so vast, it's impossible for him to know everyone, let alone the powerful emperor. It's normal that he hasn't heard of it. Father, that's what happened. Hao Fei hurriedly told what happened just now, and Hao Tenglin was also surprised when he heard it. Are you saying that you can understand the light and shadow that the ancient emperor released in all the worlds, even if you see it? Hao Tenglin asked. Yes, Chu Luying encountered a bottleneck before and was unable to break through, but after seeing the light and shadow of the ancient emperor, she successfully broke through, so I asked my father about the ancient emperor, Hao Fei said. Thinking of Chu Luying's face full of admiration when she talked about the ancient emperor, he felt unhappy. This also made him want to find the other party even more, and then suppress him. Just a ray of light and shadow can make the emperor realize something. Then this ancient emperor is at least a minor venerable, and may even be a great venerable. How? Tenglin pondered for a while and looked at Hao Fei. Show me the light and shadow of this ancient emperor. This, father, my child had some unpleasantness with him just now. He has blocked me, so I can no longer see his light and shadow. Hao Fei hesitated and said. Hao Tenglin's face darkened. It would be fine if the ancient emperor was only in the realm of a great emperor or a minor venerable, but if he was in the realm of a great venerable, wouldn't their Saint Yuan city be doomed? Incompetent bungler. Hao Tenglin snorted coldly, and then with a thought, he entered the world and soon found the light and shadow of the ancient emperor. But this person, Hao Tenglin asked as he looked at Hao Fei. Hao Fei took one look and nodded, not daring to say anything. Hao Tenglin looked at the light and shadow in front of him. There were 4 lights and shadows in total. After looking at it, Hao Tenglin clicked on the first one. A ray of light and shadow, watch.